Hong Kong protesters are back on the streets tonight, marking exactly 12 months since a sea of demonstrators began a wave of anti-government action. The ongoing COVID-19 pandemic briefly derailed protest momentum, but protesters warn their campaign is far from over. Now, you're looking at live pictures from Central in Hong Kong, where hundreds of protesters are chanting slogans as they march through the city's financial district. Hong Kong police have repeatedly warned the crowds to disperse, and officers fired pepper spray and have made a few arrests earlier. Now, Chief Executive Carrie Lam has warned that the city cannot bear any more chaos. She's also blasted protest calls for a general strike, saying most Hong Kong people want a stable environment, especially during these tough economic times.
對於亦都有少部分嘅人士呢，係藉此嚟對肆意抹黑今次嘅國家安全嘅立法工作，甚至係煽動所謂喺嚟緊應該係呢個禮拜日嘅罷工罷課嘅行動呢，我喺呢度係感到極度嘅遺憾，亦都要作出呢個譴責。佢哋衝住嚟嘅呢，就係香港700幾萬人嘅利益，特別係而家喺水深火熱。係透過我頭先講一系列嘅政府嘅行為，希望能夠可以渡過呢個艱難，令到香港呢能夠走出呢個困局。
An estimated 1 million people took to the streets on June 9th last year to protest a now defunct extradition bill. Critics feared the legislation would allow dissidents to be extradited to mainland China. 1 year later, activists fear the upcoming national security law gives rise to those same concerns.
The national security legislation is a second version of the extradition bill amendments that people in Hong Kong would face the justice systems in China.
The leaderless movement has been supported by different groups, including veteran democracy activists, lawmakers, students, the elderly, and professionals.
The Democrats' role here, number one, is here at the legislature. We take every opportunity to voice out and to make sure that people understand what's going on.
Our goal is to achieve the 5 demands, and it's really simple. We fight for freedom in Hong Kong.
As the protester, as we already stated, that none of 5 demands, not one last. So even though if one of them was not being promised or not being finished, we are not going to stop. So that's very clear.
Our ultimate goal, of course, is to resist any draconian legislations, including national security laws from China.
The different factions are united by one goal: democratic development.
Hong Kong people are not asking for the moon. We are asking for something that is reasonable. We are asking for democracy here, which was promised, as stated so clearly under the Basic Law.
Democracy is not a trophy given by the authority. It is always a fruit. It's always the fruit of the people's struggle, whatever it takes.
Over the past year, more than 9,000 protesters have been arrested. Nearly half of them were students.
Since the siege of the PolyU, many youngsters got arrested, and they are afraid of coming out. Since then,
the peaceful protester, they're not very willing to go out at this moment, I believe, because of the police brutality or because of the COVID-19.
But activists say it's not over.
This movement will not end as the government repressions never ceases.
It has never stopped, actually, since June, where we're still fighting for a free Hong Kong and a true democracy.
When they're trying to put more pressure on you, you should resist. Not to escape.
By introducing this highly controversial and basically harmful national security law, imposing it on Hong Kong, it will not make Hong Kong people happy. And when there's a chance, Hong Kong people will definitely take to the street.
Beijing has long maintained that national security legislation is targeted at a small group, and those who abide by the law will not be affected. With the bill now almost a foregone conclusion, the upcoming legislative election in September appears to be the last stand for the demonstrators to make their voices heard again.
Now, for more on this, Roland Lim joins us live from Central in Hong Kong. Roland, get us up to speed then with events there where you are. Tell us about the crowds that are gathering outside now.
Right, I'm in Central on Hong Kong Island along Daewoo Road Central, where police are carrying out a clearance operation. Now, over an hour ago, thousands of protesters did take over the streets of both Queen's Road Central and then Daewoo Road Central. Both these protesters and the police, of course, were involved in minor skirmishes. There were stops and seizures. Police are now clearing the road along Daewoo Road Central. As you can see behind me, police are also telling me to move along, so I have to continue my live cross while the police action is going on as we speak. Now, of course, the police are saying that they are ready to take action for protesters, warning that taking part in unauthorized assemblies here on Hong Kong Island carries a penalty of 5 years jail time if convicted. 2,000 to 3,000 riot police have been deployed. Police have rated this particular threat level as high. The last time we saw this particular threat level raised was when protesters tried to get people to surround the Legislative Council building on May 7th during the second reading of the National Anthem Bill, which has now been passed. So police are not taking any chances with the current state of affairs. Plenty of protesters still on the sidewalk here as I'm walking with the cameramen and reporters that have been told are pushed back towards further into Central as we speak.
Roland, looks like the police are doing a preemptive move, clearing protesters, because are they fearful that protest action this week or it's going to get violent later on in the evening? What are they anticipating?
Well, as I've said, the police are saying that they are ready to handle any situation. They are watching and keeping a close eye on the protesters that appear on the streets here. At the same time, it has to be said that they have initiated a preemptive strike, an early intervention strategy in which riot police earlier on in the afternoon could be seen patrolling major streets. There were stop and searches for suspicious-looking people. Bags were searched, ID cards were demanded by officers of suspects that they might find suspicious, especially with knapsacks. But of course, this hasn't deterred people here. Now we are seeing a rush of the cameramen themselves. They are rushing, it seems, to another possible hotspot or another possible skirmish between protesters and the riot police. I cannot see what is happening at this stage, but protesters have been quick to evade police action and trying at the same time to block the roads. Now this is something that Hong Kong police say is not acceptable. They will make arrests as and when they catch these perpetrators.
All right, Roland Lim speaking to us from Central in Hong Kong, where we know this evening hundreds have gathered in Hong Kong, especially in Central, to mark the first anniversary of the anti-government protest movement. We will be bringing you more live pictures as and when information is made available to us. Our reporter there, Roland Lim, speaking to us from Hong Kong.